Good day for a swell battle. You're up!
When they initially asked me and approached me about writing the music, they kind of already knew that they wanted, the music had to fit the style of the game, like the play style and also obviously the visual style. If you listen to a lot of those old cartoons, it's still more of like a small orchestra vibe in a lot of them, chamber orchestra kind of sound. And they knew very early on that they wanted to go more for a 30s big band sound because that was more, it's just going to be generally more upbeat and exciting for that style of game. So right off the bat, that's they knew what they wanted. And then the other styles in the game, like the ragtime, in the first game anyways, the ragtime and the other sort of different things that are going on in there, came out of that when we were looking for other areas to explore. But they knew right off the bat when they asked me to come on board that they wanted a big band soundtrack. The whole process for me was just doing a lot of, it was a lot of work. The first game took about 4 years to write, and the second game also took about the same amount of time, even though it has less music, but it's more detailed. For me, it was just, I just did a lot of listening and a lot of research and a lot of score study to try and coming up with melodic ideas, but also just to come up with stylistic things which were appropriate. That's where in the DLC, for example, there's the orchestra. And, that was something we didn't explore on the first game. And I knew I wanted something more of like an early Hollywood, early Disney kind of sound for that. I was kind of checking other things out of that era. And so we sort of hit on that idea, especially after about 2015 when the game got a lot of buzz. And then Microsoft added it to the ID at Xbox indie thing. The studio kind of knew that at the very least they would have a big enough hit. The game was a big enough curiosity, at least because of how it looked, because nothing really looked like it. They were just going to go all in on it. And at the very least, even if the game failed, they would probably make enough to cover their losses. At that point, they were very willing to, any wild idea that I had for the amount of players I wanted, for specific instruments, they were always very supportive of that. So it was nice to have a studio there who was willing to, I want to hire a 50-piece orchestra, and they're like, great, go ahead and do that. And I don't think a lot of studios would, it was very expensive. So a lot of studios would be like, let's, maybe do something a bit less. But, so the experience was, it was obviously a lot of work and it was challenging, but it was made infinitely better and easier by having such a great studio there supporting it. So. Hi everyone, this is Kristofer Maddigan, composer of the video game Cuphead, and you are listening to Radiónica.
La clase, 17 horas Colombia.
Radiónica. El universo Radiónica en www.radionica.rocks.